What's happening, everybody? I'm John Ryan here with
Chris Abbot. How are you?
I'm really good, sir. I'm really excited about this new DLC announcement for Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah, it looks really cool, doesn't it?
It's interesting because it's not necessarily giving us a whole lot of what to expect from gameplay or anything like that, but it's Jack the Ripper, which is still one of those really awesome unsolved mysteries. In the last 2 or 3 years, we've had people who were like, "Oh, I totally know who it is," and then everyone's like, "No, you don't. You are incorrect, sir."
Yeah, you still kind of get chills when you hear that name. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think it could be a really cool experience to see what the AC universe does with that legend, Because the last couple of theories thought that it was some 22-year-old Polish immigrant, or maybe a 50-year-old police reporter who just happened to really like murdering people. But we don't really know for sure, and Assassin's Creed is really good about kind of weaving the unknown into historical loopholes.
Right.
Loopholes, but voids that we don't really have the whole story on. So I'm really interested. And the cool thing too is this also just makes me really excited to explore Syndicate's London, not necessarily in the DLC, but just this the aesthetic of these empty streets with gas lamps.
Yeah, the gas lamps, all the shadows. We just saw a clip where there's meat hanging in a butcher's shop, and it's that's just so creepy, right?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily giving away plot details. I mean, this is just dead birds.
Yeah.
Delicious dead birds.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's just it really lends itself. I mean, the city of London is a beautiful town in the daylight, but after dark, it looks I'm very excited to see how spooky this could be.
It's
with
haunting.
This is essentially what I think of as the Dead Kings for Unity expansion.
Yes.
Which I thought was a great expansion because of the aesthetic of just it's basically Indiana Jones. So this is a full campaign, and it's set 20 years after the events of Syndicate's story, not Unity, Syndicate.
Right.
And I think that actually is kind of an interesting choice because it actually opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. Now, I don't think I know anything for sure, but the press release that Ubisoft put out says that players will work with Scotland Yard and detectives who are actually working on the case at the time to solve the mystery of Jack the Ripper. But they don't tell you, you'll be playing as Evie or you'll be playing as Jacob. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to make this sort of an inside the AC universe story where it's what if 20 years after whatever happens at the end of Syndicate, Jacob Fry goes a little bit nutso.
Yeah.
And maybe, either finds or suspects some kind of weird Templar conspiracy involving a lot of prostitutes. And what if you only can play this section as Evie because she has to work with the police to hunt her brother?
I would love that.
That
Take
would be
it and run with it.
Right?
Just
that
go
would be
crazy.
Super cool. I mean, obviously that's complete hearsay. I don't know any of that for sure, but I think that'd be super interesting. And again, I'm just really excited because I love the setting. I like the time period a lot, and I think that this could be a really, really interesting piece of story DLC.
Yeah. So, I mean, you touched on the press release. The press release did say that you play with Frederick Aberline of Scotland Yard.
Yep.
But
probably maybe that guy.
Yeah.
This guy right here with that sweet mustache and that cool helmet.
Yeah. I mean, you see another guy in the background. I was actually looking up Frederick Aberline before this, and I also learned that you work with Henry Moore and Walter Andrews as well, so I'm wondering if they're going to play any type of pivotal role in this.
Do you think that these guys might be them?
That's what I'm thinking.
That sweet mutton chop action?
Yep.
So those guys were, what, just other guys working on the case at the time?
Yes, they were other guys working with Scotland Yard, so I don't know.
You being all history nerdy. Good job.
I try to, man. I try to.
So this is the AC Syndicate Jack the Ripper DLC, which we can be looking forward to at some point post release of the game.
And 20 years, I want to go back to your theory. 20 years after Syndicate.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen.
You could go crazy in 20 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it actually turns out to be. But I'm very excited to check out London After Dark and solve spooky mysteries. The only thing that it's going to be missing is my VW van and a giant Great Dane. But for everything else on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the Jack the Ripper DLC, and everything else you want on Vigigames, Chris Abbott, where are we hanging around?
IGN.com.